The following video is intended for mature audiences. It contains horror elements, adult themes, and language that might not be suitable for younger viewers. The genre of horror relies on the intricate equilibrium between terror and intrigue. It draws us into the darkness, quickening our pulses and making us question the line separating reality from our worst nightmares. A well-executed horror film that can maintain this balance leaves a lasting impression, lingering in the viewer's mind long after its conclusion. Regrettably, All Hallows Eve misses this mark, offering a series of fragmented narratives that, despite their potential, fall disappointingly short. The movie attempts to establish its place within the anthology horror genre, but becomes more exasperating than eerie. All Hallows Eve is an anthology film, a format responsible for one of horror's most iconic works, Creepshow. This structure allows for multiple tales woven into one movie, each delivering its distinct brand of fear. This film aims to emulate this style by presenting 3 stories linked by a creepy VHS tape discovered by a babysitter. The tape triggers the horrifying events of the night, unveiling 3 shorts filled with gruesome visuals, supernatural beings, and Art the Clown. At face value, this setup seems promising. A mysterious videotape serving as a gateway to horrific realities is an idea brimming with possibilities. However, it falls short in execution. The tales presented on the tape feel disjointed from one another and lack any narrative coherence. Instead of complementing each other, these stories vie for attention, each attempting to shock or horrify more than the last, but never quite achieving either. Horror films usually exploit deep-rooted fears, fear of darkness, fear of uncertainty, fear of death, and bring them to the surface. All Hallows Eve attempts to delve into these psychological elements at its best moments, but does so clumsily. The scares lack subtlety and are overly direct, leaving little room for imagination. The movie's reliance on blood and shock tactics over psychological tension is one of its major drawbacks. Instead of creating an atmosphere of dread or suspenseful moments, it resorts to graphic violence and disturbing visuals. While gore does have a place in horror, it needs to be used judiciously. In All Hallows Eve, it seems gratuitous, as if the film is trying too hard to unnerve. Furthermore, the movie's attempt at psychological horror is undermined by its shallow character development. The characters serve more as vehicles for the film's gore than as fully fleshed out individuals that viewers can empathize with. Without forming a connection with these characters, the horror feels empty. There's no emotional investment in their fate, resulting in scares that lack impact. When horror fails to resonate emotionally or psychologically, it reduces itself to being just a spectacle. A series of shocking images that may surprise, but never truly scare. At the core of All Hallows Eve is Art the Clown, a silent yet malevolent figure who plays the recurring antagonist. Conceptually, Art has all the makings of a memorable horror icon, with his exaggerated appearance and disturbing mannerisms making him perfect for psychological horror. However, much like the rest of the film, Art's potential goes untapped. He lurks more than he engages, and his actions lack any clear motive beyond shock value, which renders him less scary and more cartoonish. Art could have been a symbol representing irrationality and unpredictability, but instead, he becomes an overt tool of fear, a character reduced to mere grimaces and violent outbursts. Despite its attempt to stand out in the horror anthology genre through a mix of supernatural, psychological, and slasher elements, All Hallows Eve fails to carve out a distinctive voice. The film leans heavily on past horror movies without contributing anything original. Each segment feels like an underdeveloped idea rather than a well-thought-out concept. What could have been an innovative approach, a horror film merging different subgenres into one seamless experience, ends up feeling like a disjointed assortment of ideas that fail to form a satisfying whole. The film tries too hard to be everything at once, ultimately succeeding at none. A crucial element for effective horror is atmosphere, the sense of place and mood that pulls viewers into the film's world. All Hallows Eve disappoints in this aspect as well. While there are glimpses of atmospheric potential, For example, the eerie light from a TV in a dark room or the isolated landscape of a deserted gas station. These moments are scarce. The film's low budget shows in its production design and cinematography. The sets look more like hastily put together sound stages than real locations, and poor lighting often highlights these flaws rather than hiding them. Consequently, the film never quite achieves authenticity or manages to suspend disbelief, an essential factor for successful horror. One significant issue with All Hallows Eve is its disjointed narrative structure. Anthology films usually consist of separate stories, but the best ones unify these with a common theme or tone. All Hallows Eve lacks such unity. The stories are not thematically connected, nor do they build upon each other in any significant way. They are loosely tied together by the weak framing device of the VHS tape, which feels more like an afterthought than a purposeful storytelling choice. This lack of unity extends to the film's tone as well. Each segment feels like it belongs to a different film, resulting in jarring shifts in seriousness and intensity that disrupt viewer immersion. Instead of building tension, this fragmented structure breaks any momentum built up, leading to a frustrating rather than frightening viewing experience. Perhaps the most disappointing aspect of All Hallows Eve is its squandered potential. While it has the basic elements for an engaging horror experience, a chilling antagonist, an enigmatic framing device, and a readiness to venture into different subgenres, it fails to bring these components together satisfactorily. There are brief instances where it seems on the brink of doing something truly intriguing, but these moments are fleeting and quickly overshadowed by poor execution and narrative focus. The absence of creativity is glaringly evident given today's innovative horror cinema landscape. Recent years have seen filmmakers pushing boundaries and exploring new ways to scare audiences. However, All Hallows Eve feels like a relic from a less sophisticated era of horror filmmaking, where shock value and gore were prioritized over storytelling and character development. Ultimately, All Hallows Eve struggles to find its place within the crowded genre of horror anthologies. Despite moments of potential, it fails to deliver an engaging, unified experience due to its over-reliance on gore over atmosphere and psychological tension, fragmented narrative structure, underdeveloped characters, and themes. For those seeking a horror film that pushes boundaries and offers a fresh perspective on the genre, All Hallows Eve is likely to disappoint. It's a film burdened by its own ambitions, falling short of the potential its premise suggests. While some may appreciate its more gruesome elements, for most, it will be a forgettable addition to the history of horror cinema, a film that, much like its villain, offers more superficial menace than deep-seated terror. All Hallows Eve is a slasher horror thriller that is 1 hour and 23 minutes long and is not rated. This movie lost me from the very beginning and failed to hook me in. The Southern Underworld gives it the channel's first one bloody knife. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. See you next time. Thank you for watching.